everybody. Happy 4th of July. Thank you for joining our show instead of watching Joey Chestnut eat a whole bunch of hot dogs for his world record that he eats every July 4th. It is America's birthday. We rang it in. Well, we're ringing it in now with a great guest, but my family last night, we rang it in by watching Hamilton on Disney+. I can tell you, if you haven't seen it, it is absolutely fabulous. It's an interesting take on our history, done just remarkably. It's a long one, but hopefully you would enjoy it. And we said, I decided I was prepping since they sing for 2 hours and 40 minutes. I figured we'll do way less than that time, but have an incredible singer join us. And it's only fitting that our guest be who he is today, because I believe everything says America. Nothing says America more than those who defend our freedom. So while you're watching this show, let's remember those that are over in our forward combat zones right now, not able to be with their family, and those that are deployed and those that are sitting in their bases right now that couldn't come home, that they defend our freedom. And also our guest dips into the other people who protect our freedom, law enforcement. So shout out to those amazing men and women who aren't with their families today, aren't at the barbecues, aren't getting to do the fun things that we get to do. They're out protecting our freedom, our first responders on the street, the firefighters who they say are going to be really busy this July 4th. I know my neighborhood sounded like downtown Iraq last night. My dogs were not happy about it. And I was like, it's July 3rd. It's not even like you have an excuse to launch your fireworks a day early. So it's going to be a long weekend with lots of booms. So without further ado, let's get to today's guest. You all know who he is. So it's United States Air Force veteran, law enforcement veteran, talented singer, actor, and last time he was on, he told jokes, so we'll make him a comedian. The wonderful Mr. Phil Paz. Well, hold on. I went to go get Phil, and I couldn't get him. This is an interesting world. There we go. Let's bring Phil in. Hey, bud, how you doing?
Good. Happy 4th of July. Thanks, you too, man. Thank you. And continuing what you were saying, I think of the acronym RED, which is Remember Everyone Deployed. We have a lot of our troops that are overseas right now in many parts of the world, and they are doing their jobs that they signed up for, protecting our freedoms. And let's remember them and carry on in their memory and their honor.
Absolutely. And I think that's what's great about this country, Phil. Is we have the greatest freedoms in the world. And despite what everyone says is, and you can see on TV, it's absolute chaos outside. I'm going to bump the mic, everybody. I'm just slapping the mic around over here. We have the greatest freedoms in the world. We do, truly, no matter who is leading us, we have we have the greatest freedom of speech of any country. So I'm so happy we're here to celebrate those freedoms. And you're just the guy, my friend. You are the man I want to come on here, sing some Americana tunes, and just send us into the spirit of we're Americans. We are united, no matter that some of us aren't always agreeing on social media. Today's the day you put all that aside and celebrate living in the greatest country in the world with the greatest people on the planet.
I firmly agree. And, people sometimes, because I'm a veteran, I love this country. My dad was a veteran. He basically passed away from the effects of Agent Orange from Vietnam. He was also in Korea. And so I love this country. And, sometimes people will take an issue with that and have these questions. That's fine. That's totally fine. I understand that. But, my analogy is, okay, think of anybody in your family, anyone you've ever worked, anyone the most brightest, strongest person, the most beautiful person that and as beautiful and strong and bright personality that person has, what do they also have? They have flaws. Okay. Everybody has zits. Okay. America, we have our zits, right? And we just have to continue to work through those and when we can, try to come together.
And I think what we both learned in our service to the country is there's not always bright. Not every day is sunshine and bubble gums and puppy dogs and unicorns. There's some days that suck. And in a country as young as ours, if you think about the length of time that we've been a country, this is just growing pains still. We have a lot of people, a lot of voices, extreme freedoms that none of us want to lose, that so many great things have come from our mistakes. If you look at some of the freedoms we have, they come from mistakes. and we learn from them every day. And I think that's what people need to celebrate. So I don't want to turn this into a history lesson. People are like, I did not wake up on a Saturday to get a history lesson from Philip Paz and Eric Mitchell. This is not what we signed up for. Nobody wants a history lesson from a Marine. So let's jump into this, my friend. It's the 4th of July. What do you have cooked up for us today?
Well, besides awesome conversation with you, I sent a song list, but I kind of changed it up a little bit. Everything's going to be a cappella because this format is not really, conducive to music. But I think I picked some, and I'm going to try to sing them really good. I'm gonna sing some praises to our military, and and one that you requested specifically. I'm going to start off with that one.
Yes, that one's the best one. I mean, they're all good, but it's 4th of July. It's the one I wanted to hear. So
yeah, well, hold that thought, because there's another song that I think you may think it ties with being the best one. So
I have a feeling what it is, and I got goosebumps because I think I can guess. It's one of those songs that I hear, and my family's like, "Oh, geez, oh, really?" I perk up wherever I am when I hear that little medley. I know this medley too. Ooh, I love the 4th of July because they play my medley, and I can just we will watch PBS tonight in the Mitchell household. We will watch what goes on. We will do it proudly, and that's what we do. No matter if we have to wear a mask, no mask, I don't care. I'm going to celebrate America. So whenever you're ready, we will turn it over to full screen but let me just bring you in on this as you get ready. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mr. Philip Paz. There you go, my friend.
Okay, thank you. Start off with one of my favorite singers, and one of my favorite songs, as well as yours, is God Bless the USA, and we certainly hope that he does that. If tomorrow all the things were gone I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget those who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Woohoo! Look at that. Awesome. You rock. I'm going to change this up. You need to be in the main box, not me. There we go. Wow, you rock. That was awesome. Woo, chills.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy. This shirt that I'm wearing, my daughter, she has a kind of like her own little clothing line, and she makes clothes for friends and family, and she made this one for me. I'm very proud of it.
I love that shirt. I was just going to ask where I got that.
Yeah, she made it.
I love it.
But yeah, man. So whenever we get finished here, we're gonna get cleaned up, and we're gonna go over and again have a big family get together. That's probably gonna be happening all over the country, and I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of social distancing going on. I mean, and people trying to do whatever they can. But We'll see. I mean, obviously, we're not going to have some family members there who are, a little older, maybe in the higher risk category. Just want to tell everybody, try to be as safe as possible and still try to enjoy your family as much as possible. But, we got some things going on. So just be careful. Just be careful.
I love that you said that. That is. And also keep in mind, just don't talk about politics with family. Just celebrate America. Talk about the fact sports is coming back, the weather. I don't know, figure something else. But politics are always the taboo topic. I know in our family, we just decide not to talk about them. We talk about millions of other things. There's plenty else in the world to talk about that doesn't deal with how you feel about politics today in America. Today, we don't need to worry about it. Today, we celebrate our nation's birthday. This is our weekend off. And it's just, that's what we do. And we get it. I'm just thrilled that you are here right now. I mean, that song right there was just amazing, my friend. Just
thanks, buddy. Thanks. I love singing it. Sometimes I give myself chills just thinking about what I'm singing. It's crazy.
I've seen him perform it live twice. And
really? Yeah.
Both times were like, it's the most powerful thing when you watch our men and women in uniform start crying, and it's for love of country. I mean, I'm almost tearing up right now. I mean, I have goosebumps right here. I got the chicken skin going on. It's a powerful song. I mean, a lot of our songs that describe our country, but that song is just so powerful because so many people before you and I, both my grandparents over my shoulder. I have a little thing for my grandfather who served he retired as a full-bird, but he served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Was a great role model for me. All of my grandparents served. My little brother skipped a generation and then went to me. And then one of my brothers served in the Marine Corps, followed in my footsteps. And I think of all the people that we've lost, that sacrifice, that freedom for our freedom that we get today to do what we get to do, to those people who are doing the bad stuff, saying bad things, their freedom is guaranteed because of that. And because of our amazing men and women. So I just wanted to add those 2 cents. That song is so powerful to me.
I agree. And you remember I'm not sure how old you are, but if you remember the original Desert Storm, and that was like the national anthem of the time. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I love that song.
Yeah, that and Whitney, because during Desert Storm, Whitney Houston's amazing stars, the national anthem that she sang during in Tampa in the heightened days of Desert Storm 1. Is that what we're doing it now? Can we call it Desert Storm 1? I think it's a TV series. Desert Storm 1.
Hey, yeah, I'd like to get a part in that one. That's another thing, man. I'll be glad when we get back to halfway no more. I haven't had a video audition, and I don't know how long. And before during normal times, I was doing 2, 3, 4, or 5 video auditions a week. And man, I really want to get back into the acting.
Well, I mean, you do it enough between our show and Scott and Sookie's show and yours, all these shows. I see you singing a lot. You fill my feed. I do see you every day. So
good deal. That's
and
awesome.
It's good. I mean, I stop and listen, and I'm like, the man can sing. Glad he's on our show.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
So whenever you're ready, we could continue on. So.
Okay, so this is another old standard. Ray Charles did it one time. Of course, I can't do it justice to Ray Charles, but I'm going to give it a shot. Same kind of my own twist to it. So there we go. Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, God, that thy gold refine, till all success be nobleness, and every gain divine. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, For amber ways of grain, for purple mountains, majesties, above the fruited plain. America, my sweet America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Woohoo! Wow. Man, you got some chops on you.
I love singing that. I love singing that. And my wife said when I was getting ready for the show, I kind of ran through it with her, and she's like, "Yeah, but just don't get too crazy with it." I said, "Okay, I'm trying not to."
Oh, it's hard. It's such a beautiful song. It's passionate. I mean, like we said, like we've discussed, almost every one of these songs so far just has that. It just hits you in the feels that you just. It should bring that emotion. I mean, when you hear these at night with fireworks going up over here, I'm just thinking of shout out. I'm from Folsom, California. We have the Folsom Rodeo besides the great Johnny Cash song. We have an amazing rodeo grounds. And I remember as a kid growing up, and you'd sit there and we'd go to the rodeo. Even though I'm not even a rodeo person, we would go to the rodeo basically to watch the bull riders. And just that's like craziness. That's like, I would never do that job. But I remember those fireworks. I mean, it just brings back so many memories of the fireworks over the river. Sorry, folks. I know they're like, I'm not from Folsom. Wherever you're at, insert that story. I'm sure you've been there, done that. So, and shout out to everybody who's tuned in right now. Thank you so much for coming here to listen to not to listen to me, listen to Phil sing. Thank you guys so much. It means a ton to us both of us that you tuned in today on the 4th of July on a Saturday, and you're taking time out of your Saturday, your weekend to listen and talk. Two veterans that are here. One can sing. You don't want me to sing, so another one sing. He sings for me. That's what we do. But awesome, my friend. What's next?
Well, okay. So you're in the Marines. My younger brother, he was in the Marines for several years, and I got plenty of Marine buddies that I worked with for many, many years, and love the heck out of you guys. And so this is just a little shout out to you guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine.
Okay. All right. That one will get you when you stop and think for a minute. That one creeps up. And thank you. Thank you. That one's that one.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That song is powerful. I know it. A lot of people don't know unless you've been around us knucklehead Marines. That song, number one, is our hymn, and we start singing it like day one in boot camp. And it just is amazing that there's times I can remember. I went to boot camp in San Diego. My brother went to boot in Parris Island. I know a lot of all the Marine service women, they go to Parris Island. But the one thing we all do is we literally sing that at church on Sunday. Like, it's an amazing big auditorium full of all these recruits coming up. And I remember singing that, screaming it at the top of our lungs. And then they play it on graduation day. And just a few short years ago, I'll tell you the story and then we'll get to your next song. I had the honor to go back to San Diego, and a friend of mine was the head of recruitment for the West Coast of Mississippi. And he said, "Hey, do you want to come on base?" And I was like, I haven't been on MCRD San Diego since November. Well, hold on, the exact date is November 11th, I had to look over my shoulder. I graduated November 11th, 1994 from Boot and San Diego. So I had not stepped foot back on that base, like on purpose for any reason. And so here we are about 7 years ago. I go and I actually go to the exact spot where the first time I was ever called a Marine. And now they do it differently. But at the time they called you marched onto the parade deck and you got to the first stop and the chaplain came out and said, "Good morning, Marine." And that's the first time you were ever called a Marine was by the chaplain. It was so powerful. Then we sing that song and we scream it and it just echoes off all the buildings. Like, I'm pretty sure the military, at least the Marine Corps and the Navy, I found, our bases are designed for us to sing really well. So it echoes perfect. So when it comes back, it just embraces the, audience and all the spectators who are like, okay, this is a Marine Corps. I didn't believe it until I went to Paris Island and saw my brother's graduation. And I was like, they do this at every base. It's acoustically perfect. It's like Disney. It's like Disney helped the Marine Corps make acoustics. I know they didn't, but it makes it all sound good. It's like having auto-tune.
Right. Yeah, it's a good song, man. I love it.
So what do you got next for us?
Well, okay, so in the military, I'll explain it to everybody else. Of course, military members know, but the military has a big inter-service rivalry. Hey, if you're the Marines, we're the best, or the Army, Airborne thinks they're the best, whatever. Elite units in the Air Force think they're all that, in the Navy, whatever. So anyway, I say that to say this a lady, I ask for song requests all the time. And a lady, she sent me a message, and I asked her if I could share the story, and she said it was okay. She was married, and her husband was a soldier. He was an Army soldier, and he went to Vietnam, and he was killed in action. Well, one of his favorite songs was Ballad of the Green Beret, and she asked if I could do that song for her. And I said, of course, I have to now. And so I was going to do that one, and because I kind of think it goes along with the theme of today's show. So we'll go with that.
For Gold Stars. We can do whatever we want for Gold Stars.
Right.
Sing every song we want for Gold Stars.
That's right.
Take it away, my friend.
Okay. Fighting soldiers from the sky, fearless men who jump and die, men who mean just what they say, these brave men of the Green Beret, silver wings upon their chest. These are men, America's best. 100 men will test today, but only 3 will earn the Green Beret. Trained to live off nature's land, trained in combat hand to hand. Men who fight by night and day, courage take from the Green Beret. Silver wings upon their chest. These are men, America's best. 100 men will test today, but only 3 will earn the Green Beret. Back at home, a young wife waits. Her Green Beret has met his fate. He has died for those oppressed, leaving her his last request. Put silver wings on my son's chest. Make him one of America's best. He'll be a man, he'll test one day. Have him earn his Green Beret. I almost got choked up on that one.
Oh, that was powerful. And I was thinking who you were doing it for, and it made me think of Hal Moore in the Army, an amazing colonel who they've made. Mel Gibson played him in a movie a few years ago, which was absolutely powerful. It's actually, when we talk about July 4th, and in that song they talk about bringing the beret to his loved one, right? Which is very powerful. And that was like one of the first movies I can think of where they showed that, where part of that movie that Mel Gibson made was based off just going around during Vietnam where they weren't prepared, and it's the first time it's ever showed that. And I think that's the side of America you have to see. There is this, it's not all glory. I mean, it's glory for all of us. I mean, I know Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan said that nothing's better an honor than dying for your country and getting a chow hall named after you. Because that's what happens in the Marine Corps. You get a base or a chow hall. Depends on how you die. How glorious of a death you die on the battlefield is
right.
Do you get a chow hall, a field, or a base? You're doing real good if you get the base. But I mean, it's powerful. It's powerful when you think of those. Big thoughts and prayers go out to all the Gold Star families. If there's anyone watching right now, our heart, both from Phil and I, I'm sure I speak for Phil, for any Gold Star families out there, we are with you on this probably another very tough day to see the flag and celebrations and families together. And our thoughts and prayers go out to you. And shout out to General Kelly, who was Chief of Staff for the White House. He is a Gold Star parent also. So there's a lot of Gold Stars out there, and anybody in law enforcement that we lost. I know in the last few weeks we've lost a few with the badge. There's some pretty tragic stuff. So it includes everybody. I'm not just including our veterans, but
right.
I don't know what they call them in law enforcement. There's not Gold Star. You guys have something else for that, but Gold Star is what we've.
Survivors. But speaking of Vietnam, and my dad was a Vietnam veteran. He was in the Air Force, and he was in the communications field. But during really bad times, during an attack or whatnot, everybody was got a gun and had to do what you had to do. So I remember, and I don't know why this story popped in my head when you were talking about it, but I remember I was probably 5 years old when my dad was in Vietnam. And I remember my mom loved him so much and just missed him horribly, because it was me and my brothers and sisters. There were four of us kids at the time. And I can remember when, she was mild and meek, good Christian woman. And, she was afraid without him. She was afraid, trying to raise these children at home by herself. And I can remember every night, we would all sleep in her bedroom, but she'd say, "All right, kids, come on, let's push the bed." And when she said that, we knew that we'd push the bed. We'd close the bedroom door and we would push the bed against the bedroom door, because she was afraid of, somebody coming in to get her, but more importantly, her children. And she wanted to protect them any way she could. And and I think, with all the men, the millions of men that served in Vietnam, and I think of not only our story, but how many of those stories just like that around the country, how people in any war, and to this day, how families make do when their main person or their loved one is over doing their job. And not only is it such a hardship for that service member, but just like my mom, the hardship that the families back home have to endure. So you talked about Gold Star families, and also the families that made those sacrifices while their service member is away. So yeah, that story popped in my head, and I just had to share that.
That's awesome. Yeah. And the mil-spouse community is key here. I don't want to leave them out. They are a big part of when we deploy. All of us in uniform deploy to foreign soil. I know I was not married when I deployed. I had a mom, and, she had to go through me deploying, which was, she shared the stories of what it felt like with me being deployed. I've talked to other people. And since, going through my brother being deployed, I don't have any children in the military. They're not old enough. Well, two of them are old enough. They just don't want to join. But I remember when my brother went in, and he deployed 3 times to Afghanistan when it was really bad. And I remember those very sleepless nights when my phone would buzz with a new breaking news that somebody was trying to breach Camp Leatherneck, and that's where he was at. It was scary because, you know, it's a different time when you have when you have skin in the game, and it's not just being the service member, being a member of that family. You are just like us, and I know in the Marines we believe that. I know the Air Force feels that way. I believe every branch feels that way. And yes, and one thing you said earlier, and I just want to cover this because somebody texted me about it, and just so you know, the rivalry between branches, I think it's more friendly than it is anything else. We poke each other more than anything else. You know, we like to give each other a hard time, but at the end of the day, we all love each other and represent what we're doing. You know, we're one team, and we believe in one fight, and we will. It doesn't matter because Air Force will stand up for Marines any day of the week, period. That's just how that game's played. So I just think people need to remember that.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's like, you know, it's like a family. You know, the kids will fight with each other, but if somebody outside the family comes to start trouble, then the family is directed towards them.
Everybody shows up. Yeah, absolutely. So what do you got for us next?
Well, I think I'm going to make this my last song. And, you know, as a military member, you're familiar with it. You know, it's usually played at dusk during the flag ceremonies at the end of the duty day. And also at military funerals. It's called taps, and that's usually played with an instrument, typically a bugle. But what a lot of people don't realize is taps also has lyrics, and I was going to finish up with that one. Sorry. Day, sorry about that. Day is done, gone the sun, from the lake, from the hills, from the sky. All is well, safely rest. God is nigh. Fading light dims the sight, and a star gems the sky, gleaming bright. From afar, drawing nigh, falls the night. Thanks and praise for our days. 'Neath the sun, 'neath the stars, 'neath the sky. As we go, this we know, God is nigh.
Wow.
Sorry, that one almost got me too.
that one gets us all.
Yeah.
I unfortunately have heard that song played every which way. And unfortunately, you know, we do listen to it to put ourselves to sleep at night on every base around the world. But unfortunately, we hear it at other times too. And before you go, I do want to give a shout out to those families that have suffered through PTSD with their loved ones at home right now. It's hard. We come home and we have that fight. And we just got to keep doing it. And I think when we prove that we can do things like this, show up, unite, get everybody together, get a large group of you together. Shout out to everybody who's joined us. Your comments are awesome. I can't wait to go through. I've seen, okay, I'm geeking out because my eyeballs always spot the Marine Corps word. So I've seen several of you with sons, daughters that are in the Corps. I see Air Force out there. Lots of tears, Phil, by the way. I'm looking at the comments. You're causing tears. So.
Thank you. You know, to continue about what you said about the PTSD, you know, I've been a veterans advocate in the 22 a day, and which 20, for people who don't know, on the average, 22 military veterans a day, end their life by their own hand. And I do everything I can to bring awareness to that situation. I made a short film about it. In fact, I'll send it to you a few years ago. And I want to stress, I know there's probably people out there that have family members that are going through some mental health issues. Do everything you can to encourage these people to go to the VA, they offer these services to help them. The 1-800 number to the Veterans Suicide Crisis Line, I'll post that on my page. But I'm trying to bring awareness to that situation, as well as to law enforcement and for all first responders that have issues that are created as a result of their jobs. And we try to fight the stigma of it's weak to ask for help. We got to get away from that. We've got to get away from that. I myself, I've had to go talk to someone, and there's no weakness in that, because we all need help. We all need a shoulder to lean on sometimes. So encourage your family members to get the help they need. And, like I say, I'm praying for everybody. And I want to say thank you for tuning in to be with Eric and I today, like he said, on this Saturday, your July 4th. And I just want to say thank you again. Love you guys, and hope to see you next time.
Heck yeah. And by the way, before you go, I just want to say the prevention number, we're going to add it into the show, but it is 1-800-273-8255. If you know anybody out there, use that line. And to piggyback on what you said, we all need it. I know I've needed it. I've taken it. It's reoccurred even during COVID-19 times. It's really been, it's a struggle for a lot of us. As much as we want to adapt and overcome, some of it it's hard. And we're not crazy. People with PTSD, it's a different world, but be thoughtful of those folks that are out there. Think of those people. We're losing far too many a day. And I'm like you, any way that we can support any veteran groups out there. The one that I'll give a shout out to is Lift for the 22. That's an amazing organization by 2 Marines and a sailor who basically give out, well, I don't know if they still do it, but they used to give out gym memberships to veterans and their families. So, because working out helps you with your mental health. We've talked about that with our Marine Corps guests on our show before. But take care of yourself mentally, folks. Don't be afraid to get that help and talk to people.
Exactly.
Do you good. Don't be quiet about it. We want you here. So the more we pass that message that we like you here and not below the dirt, stay here with us and celebrate more of these, because that means you can stick around and come back a year from now. Phil will sing on our show again. We'll be in the studio. We'll fly him in, and he'll be famous. We'll see him everywhere. He'll be coming from an appearance on like Ellen or something. So,
hey, I'm working hard.
Yeah, you are. I love that shirt. But I want to thank you so much, Phil, for joining us today. It means a lot to me to take time on your July 4th to come on with all of us, and these amazing folks have tuned in to watch our show today. So I want to thank you so much. I'm not going to keep you anymore. Right. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Big shout out, however you do it, to Mr. Phil Paz. Thank you, bud. Appreciate it.
See y'all later. Thank you.
There we go. So let me angle myself here, folks. We got to do the angling thing. There we go. Oh, check me out. Look at this technology and me here going. So anyways, folks, I want to thank you guys for tuning in on July 4th. It's been amazing. Truly just an amazing time. So go out with your family and enjoy the freedoms that you have. Don't think about all the negative things that are going on in our country today. This isn't a day to focus on politics and whether the left likes the right and the right likes the left. It's not a time to think about who's going to be our next president, because one thing that we have in American history, and just by watching just any kind of history, is every 4 to 8 years we change our leaders. And it's just the way our country works. It sorts itself out, just like we did after 9/11, just like we did after Pearl Harbor. Our country always comes together. The one thing that unites us is that we all are Americans. The color of our skin doesn't mean anything. We are Americans. We live in the greatest country, and we have men and women that protect our freedom, whether it's on our streets and law enforcement and firefighters or those COVID warriors that have been helping with this pandemic that are sitting in the ERs and dealing with these cases, or our men and women on the front line in places that you don't even want to use their words, Iraq, Afghanistan, places that are horrible. They're there fighting for our freedom. So at the end of the day, when you put your pillow down, all the craziness that you see on Facebook or Twitter or anywhere else, it means absolutely nothing, because you could stop and you could think of the brave men and women who give us the right to do that. And it's because of them that we have a day like this once a year to celebrate our freedom. So go out, enjoy America, eat some good barbecue, because that's what I'm going to go do. It's time to go start the ribs. We got to get them ready. It's barbecue time, and I'll be in my backyard. I don't need to wear a mask, but I'm going to go enjoy a good barbecue, and I'm going to be off social. We are going to see you guys again. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys on Monday live show. We have Marine Corps and Navy and talk show host Montel Williams joining us, who, no, he doesn't sing like Phil, but it's Montel. So please join us for Montel Williams, same time, same bat channel, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, weekdays. That's us. So thank you guys so much. God bless. Enjoy your 4th of July. And as always, I'm Eric Mitchell. Be safe, be strong, be smart, and God bless America.
Let's get to the point with Eric Mitchell. Let's get to the point.